The alien Empress dismissed countless caretakers until a human widower Janitor won her daughter's heart. The palace of Lemuria glittered like 1,000 suns reflected on crystal towers. To outsiders, it was a symbol of perfection, of wealth, authority, and divine alien grace. Yet within its walls, chaos reigned. For 2 months, the alien Empress, Cytherea, had hired and fired 15 different nannies, each one dismissed in fits of frustration. They had been scholars, healers, even former royal attendants. Yet none could last more than a week. The problem wasn't the Empress herself. It was her daughter, Princess Serelith. Born frail, the young alien child had lungs that wheezed in the dry palace air, a voice that barely whispered above a breath, and eyes that carried the weight of illness. She wasn't cruel, nor difficult, but she was silent, withdrawn. Each caretaker grew impatient with her refusal to eat, to speak, to learn, until their resignation followed. Cytherea's patience had worn thin. The galaxy expected an heir, yet her daughter wasted away. And then, fate intervened. The Janitor. Yarok Wynn never thought his name would be whispered in the halls of power. A human, he had come to Lemuria as part of a labor program after Earth's colonies faltered. Widowed years ago, he had raised his own son alone until war claimed the boy's life. With grief hollowing him, he took the only work he could find, janitorial duty in the alien palace. He was invisible to most. Just another uniformed worker sweeping halls, fixing clogged drains, polishing glass that reflected 100 alien faces back at him. But one evening, while replacing a cracked water filter in the princess's wing, he heard a soft cough, wet, fragile, like glass splintering. He turned to see her, curled up on the edge of her bed, pale tendrils of hair covering her violet eyes. "Need some water, kiddo?" Yarok asked, his voice low, unthreatening. The girl blinked. No alien nurse, no courtier, had ever called her kiddo. She didn't reply, but when he filled a glass and set it beside her, she reached with trembling fingers. Yarok smiled, not the stiff, respectful bow of the other attendants, but the warm curve of a father's heart. "There you go." And then he left. No lecture, no fuss. Just water and kindness. The princess responds. Over the next week, Yarok found reasons to pass by the princess's chambers. He never intruded, but whenever he fixed pipes or polished the railings, he spoke gently, almost as though speaking to himself. "You know, my boy used to cough like that when the winters came. Hated soup, too. But I'd tell him, you eat enough of it, you'll be running outside by spring." The child watched him. She never replied, but her eyes followed him. On the 7th day, something remarkable happened. When Yarok finished scrubbing the floor and turned to leave, he heard a faint whisper. "Thank you." He froze. The voice was fragile but real. The alien princess had spoken. The Empress notices. When Empress Cytherea learned her daughter had finally spoken, to a janitor no less, she was furious at first. A servant? A human? This is an insult. But then she saw her child. Serelith's cheeks had color again. She sat straighter, coughed less, and even smiled faintly when Yarok entered the room. "Let him stay," the princess whispered, clinging to his sleeve. The Empress hesitated. Royalty did not associate with servants. But her daughter's life was precious. If this human widower was the only one to reach her, then so be it. Yarok Wynn became the unofficial caretaker of the alien princess. The bond. Yarok didn't follow the rigid protocols of alien nannies. He told stories. Human stories of rainstorms on Earth, of children building forts from cardboard boxes, of a father cooking pancakes too thick to flip. Serelith laughed, soft, wheezing, but real. For the first time, Laughter echoed in the cold palace halls. He taught her small exercises to strengthen her lungs, the same ones he had begged his son to do years ago. He coaxed her to eat by making meals a game, pretending each bite was a star swallowed to fuel her strength. The Empress watched in silence. Each day, her skepticism cracked a little more. The court rebels. Not everyone approved. Alien courtiers sneered that the Empress demeaned herself by allowing a human janitor near the throne's heir. Rumors spread that Cytherea was unfit to rule. Replace him, demanded her advisors. This will shame the empire. But when Cytherea suggested it to her daughter, Sarilith clung to Jarek's arm and cried with a desperation that shook the Empress to her core. For the first time in her reign, the Empress defied her counsel. The child stays with him, she decreed. Crisis in the palace. Months later, when political rivals attempted a quiet assassination, it was not a royal guard who saved the princess, but Jarek. The attacker had slipped poison into the child's drink. Jarek, ever watchful, noticed the faint shimmer in the liquid. His instinct screamed. Without hesitation, he knocked the cup from her hands. The poison sizzled against the floor. The Empress arrived moments later to see her daughter trembling in Jarek's arms. In that moment, she understood. He was not just a janitor. He was a protector, a father, and perhaps the only soul in the galaxy who truly cared for Sarilith as more than a political heir. The ending. Over time, Sarilith grew stronger. Not cured, but alive. Vibrant in ways the court physicians never thought possible. She spoke, she learned, she laughed. And always at her side was Jarek. The Empress changed, too. The ruthless queen who had dismissed 15 caretakers now watched her daughter thrive under the care of a human widower janitor. She no longer saw him as lowly. She saw him as irreplaceable. One evening, as the twin moons lit the palace gardens, Cytherea approached Jarek. You have given my daughter what all my wealth and power could not. A reason to live. Jarek bowed, awkward, humble. She just needed someone to see her. Not as a princess, just as a kid. The Empress's gaze softened. For the first time, she smiled at a human. And from that day forward, no one dared call him just a janitor.